Hey guys, welcome back to another 8:30 casual video. Today we're looking at a slight upgrade in my folder, trying to keep all of my rules and printed game systems in this folder along with oracles on the left here. So I have Mythic, I have that one for Morkborg, and then I have tables for one, and then I have some resource sheets that help with locations. But that's not really the focus of this video. First off, I just have to skim through this stuff. So first, I have Karen printed out here with character sheets right behind. Then, of course, my favorite Maze Rats. I'd say favorite wise, I think it's competing with Karen. Karen has always been. Um, it was one of the first systems I found outside of D&D, so it's definitely like it's a top two at least. Maze Rats has been a really good favorite of mine. There's Maze Rats character sheets right here. So this video will be looking at Loner, and beyond this, I have Loner's character sheets. And then I have a new system I found, the same creator of Maze Rats called, I think it's called Mave. It's a similar engine with more ability scores tied to it. Then I have another system called Sword Sorcery and 2d6 behind that with its character sheet. So two new systems to my small little collection here, and then everything back here on this back pocket are one-page exact systems. But for this video, we're going to focus, I'm going to go through this the first time thoroughly with you guys called Loner, another solo RPG, Core Rules Second Edition. So, a commenter of mine mentioned this a long time ago. Haven't gotten to it until now. It has mechanics. It's obviously made custom for solo play, but it has an interesting narrative approach when it comes to making decisions based on its internal oracle. So, let's go ahead and run through it here. We're looking at this is really, like I said, a first time for me going through it thoroughly. Want to become more familiar with it. So here is the index. We have a pretty good selection of pages here, all kind of wrapped up into this one solo kit. Then here is what is Loner. So Loner is basically a minimalist solo role-playing game designed to play only with one character. So that is one thing that I wasn't a fan of at first, which is sounds a little, double standard for me, hypocritical, because a lot of my videos are one character based, but I have done two, three, up to four, including my friend Ryan's Bastard Company, which is our offline uh, long campaign where I control four characters and he's the DM. But as far as this being for one character, it's really intriguing now. At first, I was a little kind of shied away from it. Like I said, I kept this in the back of my mind when the commenter mentioned it, but it's been kind of creeping up in my interest, and it does seem to be fairly universal. Obviously, there's a mention theme-wise is fantasy and sci-fi. You'll see that in a second. But it just goes about, obviously, I want you guys to buy this on if you're interested. I don't want to spoil too much, but um, it just talks about what this is, and then you can use four-sided six dice, four six-sided dice as a character sheet notebook, take notes, and it's not a solo journaling game as it says here. Plus, you can just use a simple thing as an index card for your character sheet, or you can use the character sheets that come with it. So it's definitely something to just keep your creativity going, which is essentially at the heart of solo play. You can choose a genre. It says that it does take place in a well-defined imagery that you'll have to choose from your favorite TV series. So it allows you to really choose your own theme, your own lore, and I think it will definitely work because it is generic enough if you look at these protagonist traits here. So we have name, concept, skills times two, frailty, gear times two, goal, motive, nemesis, and luck. Very narrative driven traits, like a character sheet traits, which is really intriguing. I've been used to mostly mechanics, dice rolling with a hint of narrative, obviously. I've made my own one page RPGs. I've made several that I keep backlogged that have a blend of narrative and dice rolling. This seems to be an interesting blend of narrative and some mechanics, but it really does try to challenge you as far as deciding what your character does if you approach it using the built-in oracle. So when we'll get to that in a second. Here is some things regarding the world itself. Everything is a character, non-living, living characters, descriptive tags. You start your game out, and it gives you an example of what to really ask to set up a starting scene, essentially, a starting adventure, even before the adventure. It has core rule tables. It has actually a great wealth amount of tables that you can jump to if you aren't using anything outside of Loner. So this is the little thing I was mentioning earlier. It is this little interesting path how you can kind of design the foundation for your scene, essentially for your character to pat through, pun intended. And then, like I said, there are images in here that are not just strictly fantasy based. They could obviously nonfiction, they're fictional, but um, they you can do this, karate kung fu scene if you want story. You can do sci-fi, you can do cyberpunk. It definitely lets you get creative. So here's where it kind of gets and lines up your path for you. I keep calling it path because that's how I see it. Yes, no, you can consider options, and it just drives you through the mechanics. You consult the oracle. Now, this is the oracle that it has engraved, and it's like I said, it's a 2d6 system. Let's get the dice out. So I'm going to say we have a chance die and a risk die. Obviously, for me, as I have been doing for a while now, chance die is going to be blue, risk die is red. I don't know why, but this was confusing me for some time, even though it's relatively simple. But it says when you need to test your expectations, you ask the oracle a closed question. You need 2d6 of one color, so we have chance die and a red die for risk die. Resolve a closed question, roll one chance die and one risk die. If the chance die is highest, the answer is yes. If the risk die is highest, the answer is no. If both are low, three or less, add a but. If both are high, four or more, add an and. If both are equal, the answer is yes, and add a point to the twist counter, which is on the following page. So, like I said, this does confuse me at times. It could be insanely easy for some people, but I don't know why it throws me off. But let's see, both is less greater than four. Both is less than three. Let's roll. Let's say, can my character grow hair? He's bald. So yes, he can. If the chance die is less than three, yes, and both of them are less than three, and that is the winning answer. I think that's how it works. Hopefully I'm reading this right. So yes, he can grow his hair back and a ponytail, so he can go full Steven Seagal early 90s. I believe that's how I'm interpreting it. But again, I probably would use my own Oracle, which is the almost a similar thing, but with the advantage roll, etc. I've done a whole video that was my last couple videos ago. I talked about my favorite oracles, and again, my favorite oracles really overshadow this one easily. But for some people, this might actually be beneficial, and I think people will like this, and it's baked into the system. So why? I think some people will say, why use another system when you have everything in this one kit? And I will be calling this a kit a lot because that's essentially what it is. Here is more diagrams, like consulting the Oracle. You have advantage and disadvantage. A twist counter. This is from earlier, but it says if you're relying on a twist, this gives you a twist. I do like how it has these tables to assist you. Again, another thing you don't have to use outside of a system, tables, essentially. Conflict, which is always very important for RPGs. Solo RPGs, you want conflict. So that's one thing that I was lacking in some of my, let's see, which series? The Search for Lasky. The few episodes ago, probably two or three of them, I didn't have much conflict. There's a lot of talking. There were some goblin fights, and goblins seem to be my stereotypical go-to for villains, but that's because the misfortune world is very populated with goblins who tend to be the antagonistic characters. But for Search for Lasky, I noticed I needed more conflict beyond just talking. So the last episode I did, I believe I threw in a lot of conflict, some illusions, a battle with a magic user goblin, and almost some, you know, nail biting moments with the characters, with one of my characters' health being so low. So I hope that was a good amount of conflict. I won't throw too much conflict. I don't want to make the world completely impossible, as Karen might be set to be. But with maze rats, it's not. We're not in a maze. We're out in the world, and I need to put. I'm trying to push that system to see how far I can go. So, speaking of conflict, here's harm and luck. Determine the mood of the scene. You have then it becomes a really healthy amount of tables based on the different colored die. So, for example, I love rolling tables at times. The dark die will be, let's just do, we'll do blue for left, and the black die will be the red one. So we're trying to find a noun for something we see. Fifth row, third column. So it's going to be on the edge. Okay, so it's an edge item will be the verb of this edge. Let's see, what's the verb? We have a third row, sixth column. Edge turn. So our characters are driving a car and we come up to an edge and there's a tight turn we have to take. It's late at night and we got to throw a dexterity roll to make sure we don't go flying off the cliff. So that's essentially how I perceive that. Adjective for that tight turn on a hillside on a very wavy road, 6-6. So we have charming, uh, maybe we're our character's making out with a female character, or vice versa, and where we get carried away, charming the other character, our love interest, and that's what causes us to almost fly off the cliff. So we have to do a quick dexterity save. That's how you can use these tables, especially solo RPG. So, like I said, there's a lot of artwork. This one looks more like it's sci-fi, futuristic based. Um, the Adventure Maker gives you tools to create your own adventure tone for the adventure. So let's roll on the settings table 5, 6. So we have, see, 5 is this third column here. Gracious and elegant. Okay, so something gracious and elegant. We're looking at what is gracious and elegant. Let's do 4 here and then 4 here. So this gracious and elegant is going to be a cybernetic organisms and androids. Okay, that can get a little odd, but I'll leave it at that. So, all right, moving on. Things. We have 3 and then 2. Dark magic. So these android and cybernetic organisms, Terminator, but without the um, previous mention there. So Terminator, dark magic, but they are Terminator with they're terminating cybernetic organisms with dark magic. So they time travel. I don't know. That's how I'm perceiving that. But they have feelings. That you know what? That's how I can see it. So what I rolled earlier, gracious and elegant, if that's what I believe I rolled. They are time traveling robots who have feelings. That's how I can perceive that. That might actually work out. These time traveling robots who have feelings. We have 4 and 4. It's a futuristic utopia. They come from a futuristic utopia seeking flaws. They have too much perfection in their time, and they're seeking something of a challenge, or they're seeking their own conflict. Like I said, I really don't. I'm just kind of improvising at the moment. 6 is down here, 2, another 2 over here. Telekinetic abilities. Okay, well, maybe there is a character with telekinesis who is, think of like the movie Looper with that kid who had telekinesis. So, that's a time traveling movie. Futuristic, Joseph Gordon-Levitt's futuristic self, who is played by Bruce Willis, comes to the past to kill a character who has telekinetic abilities, and that could be obviously another story twist there. So it has all these different actions are always a good one to use. You have all these different tables to help you create your world essentially, and that's really it. So here are the credits if you're interested to see who made this and what you can use it for. So, and here are the character sheets are that easy. That they're this small. That is the character sheet. It gives you two per, so that's a great small, um, doesn't take up much space. So that's it for solo or for loaner second edition. And like I said, this is my little folder. The other folder was really bad condition, so I had to get rid of it. I felt like just using this random blue one for now. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. It was just looking at the loaner game, nothing really more. I might do videos where I look at the other games in here that I'm making. But yeah, I'm going to just slowly build up this folder for tabletop play. And as always, thank you for watching. I'll see you guys next time on 830 RPG.